Well, I hope you weren't disappointed with that story. We played it up to be a very good story, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Before I go on, we've got a few quick donations I want to read off. Elsie Doherty with $25 donation. Thank you, Elsie Doherty. Oh, my mother called. I
answered.
$25. You did?
Yeah,
did you talk to her for a while?
I had to run and get back in here. I was in the I had to go over to Andrea.
Anyway, she donated $25, and a big donation from Taylor Vandal Funeral Home, a $100 donation. Thank you a lot. Lisa and Craig Taylor. Lisa works here at the high school as a secretary assistant. They donated $25. I think they're having sort of a party too. Just wanted to read those off very quickly for you. Before I go on again, I would like to give credit where credit is due again. Chris Lake here beside me. You've outdressed me once again, Chris. Peter Denby outdressed me.
I really try.
At 6 o'clock, I admitted that Peter Denby outdressed me, and now I'm going to admit
he was rushed, though. It's not his fault.
Yes, I was very rushed.
Baseball practice.
Yes, but I'll give credit where credit is due. You've outdressed me.
Thank you, Andrew.
Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit with you about your trip down to Pittsburgh. How did that happen?
You mean Florida?
Pittsburgh, yeah, Florida, for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yes, for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Well, one of my mother's best friends, and a woman that pretty much took care of us when we were little, over the summers and stuff, and well, she used to be a secretary for the Pirate City where the Pittsburgh Pirates have the spring training. And I called her and asked, I said, well, we're having a telethon, and I'd like to know if I can get some interviews. Well, she gave me a couple numbers, one for Jim Tredenich, who is a public relations director for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and we called him, and it took me 3 faxes, phone call, for a week and a half, and
straight.
Yeah, I always seem to miss him. I called 8:30. He was already gone. I'm like, I thought that was pretty early, you know. But we finally got a hold of him. He said he wanted to know if we'd do this over the phone. I said, well, I'd like to do it in person. And he says, well, if you can get down here, he said, call me when you get back in town, and I'll set up the interview. So we rented a fan from Denby Garrett, which I'd like to thank at this moment, and Pat Snyder, who she let us borrow a luggage carrier, and if not for Pat Snyder, we would have been very uncomfortable the whole trip down. And we got down there, and we went and visited Kane. Same day we got down there, really tired, got an interview with him. They gave us a quick tour around Pirate City, and next day we went to the ballpark and talked to the major leaguers.
Oh, that's pretty good. So you got to see what Kane's life was like down in Florida at spring training.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff going on down there.
Yeah, he said when they get rained out from practice, it's pretty boring, but...
Yeah. Anyway, right now we're going to, I guess, take a look at your guys' interview with Kane in Florida, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more.
If we don't seem too perky on this interview, it's because we had maybe 3 hours sleep the whole trip down here, and we had just got there, unpacked, and ran over there, so we were kind of dead.
Well, we'll take a look at that tape, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more with Chris about his trip down to Florida. We're going to go ahead to that story now. Let's see that.
Kane, tell us about what your day's like and what all you do.
Oh, well, it starts off, you get up around 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and you eat breakfast here at the cafeteria, which you'll probably see here in a little bit. But then at about, say, 9 o'clock, you got to be on the field at 9. We have a little meeting there, and then we stretch, and we do our tossing, and then we start, we do all our fundamental stuff that we have to do, and then we play our games around 1 o'clock after lunch, because we eat lunch about 12. So then we eat lunch, or we have games at about 1:30, something like that. And if you're not, say, a pitcher, if you're not pitching in that game, you know, you're done for the rest of the day. So basically, it's pretty easy for us. We have a short day, so.
Pitchers get it kind of easy there?
Yeah, we have a lot of time on our hands to do what we want.
So do you have to worry about batting practice as much as the other players, or is it kind of easy on the pitchers?
We don't really take batting practice. We get in there and get a few swings in every now and then, but that's not what we're here to do. We're basically here just to learn how to pitch.
So how long is your pitching practice then last?
Oh, it's just, I mean, it's the whole practice you go through, well, you just toss, and if you're throwing in the game, you know, you still have to be out there for practice, you know, and you just stay out as long as everybody else does.
Okay, now we're going to see your dorm rooms here later where you're staying at. Do you have any roommates? Or?
Yeah, I got one roommate, Aaron France. He's from Anaheim, California. Another one, Jeff Kelly, is from Staten Island, New York, and I played with them both last year.
What are your predictions on who will be going to the majors with you, or?
No, I can't really say that. That's not up to me, but I'd say give you a few names for ones to watch would be maybe a guy named T.J. Staten. He's an outfielder. He played with me last year. He'll probably be in Double-A this year. He's pretty good, and maybe Charles Peterson. He's pretty good, and Chad Hermanson, who was a first-rounder last year. I'd say they're the big names ones to watch for here in a few years.
Yeah. What do you think you'll be doing here next year?
Oh, I don't know. It depends on what kind of year I have this year, and wherever they put me, I'll be happy as long as I don't move backwards.
Yeah. Well, how's it going so far this year? How are your stats?
I'm doing pretty good here in spring training. They don't keep stats or anything in spring training. It just goes upon how you're pitching, how you progress, and I feel I'm doing pretty good. I think I'm having a better spring than I was having last year.
Are any of your families coming to see you in Lynchburg when you go?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. It's only like 3.5 or 4 hours away, so I'll be. I'm sure my parents and some of my family, my brothers and stuff will come down and watch me, and then we go to Wilmington, Delaware, and play. And I have family there and in Dover, Delaware, so I'll have family there. And then we play in Maryland, so yeah, I'll have a lot of family at a lot of my games.
Okay, that was a really interesting story about Kane's life down in Florida. We got aspects. We got point of view from both ways, from Spencer and from Florida. Anyway, still here with me.
Florida was the warmest.
Yes, of course. Lucky. Still here with me, Chris Lake. We're going to talk a little bit about the actual Pirates organization. We got a ball here. This is just one of the balls. This is signed by Jay Bell. I don't know if you guys could get a close enough shot of it, but just trust me, it's autographed by Jay Bell.
And these are one that we are giving away.
Yeah, we are giving those away to the donation people. This is one of the giveaways. Just call and put your name in the little basket, and we'll draw out. And there's 5 of them. I don't know who else signed them.
Manager Jim Leyland.
Jim Leyland, yes.
Jim Leyland. First baseman Jeff King. Left fielder Al Martin. Shortstop Jay Bell. And third infielder, let's say he plays third and first base. It's Kevin Young.
Kevin Young. Okay. That's really interesting to get to go down there and talk to them. What was it like actually getting into the games? And you told me about some press passes you guys got.
We got press passes. Jim Tredenich. It was totally awesome to us. Come to find out, his wife is from Parkersburg, so she gives him a hard time. Yeah. She makes him do everything. When people call from West Virginia, she makes them do it. So yeah, we felt pretty privileged. He gave us press passes that were marked down for the press lounge, back behind the field there, and the press box. We didn't get a chance to go in the press box because they were doing play-by-play, and we weren't allowed in there after the start of the game. But we did go back in the press lounge.
Get to munch on some good food,
hot dogs and normal ballpark things.
Yeah.
And we went back there, got set up. We were ready to go by 9:30, but they had batting practice until quarter after 11. So we waited until then, and Jim Tredenich started bringing them out. We did Jim Leyland first, and then so on and so on. And they were all great. All of them were super nice. Jay Bell was my favorite. He was very nice.
Assuming that's why you got the Jay Bell out. Yes.
Well, it was the first one on there.
Yeah.
By coincidence.
By coincidence, yeah.
But they were all really nice.
Yeah.
And great.
We got a little tape about now the Pirates down in Florida. Not Kane, not just Kane. Right. Now the Pirates. This was produced by you guys again, since you guys were down there already in the nice, warm
Florida
sun.
We were the lucky ones. Andrew State and Spencer got
State and Spencer in the freezing cold. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at that video right now.
His 11th year managing the Pittsburgh Pirates. In his first 10 seasons, he compiled a .502 winning percentage. With 777 career managerial wins, Jim entered the 96th season 6th among active major league managers in career wins. So, Leyland, we understand that the Pirate organization is under new ownership, and we would like to know what fans can be expected of seeing from the new ownership about the Pirates.
Well, I think Kevin McClatchy's made a real positive impact so far. I think he's got a good relationship going with the people in Pittsburgh. I think they're excited about the transaction of the ownership, and I'm looking forward to a good year. I don't think we'll have a great year, but I think we can have a good year. And hopefully, this will be the first step in taking off again and getting back to a championship caliber type team. I think that's very important, and I think the ownership transaction, I think that's the start of it.
Okay, So, do you have any new players you're bringing in, or are you trading some, or what about player positions? Can we expect anything from them in the next few months?
Well, we're probably going to bring in a new catcher this year, and Jason Kendall looks like he'd probably be on the ball club. Maybe a pitcher or so. We're bringing in Charlie Hayes and Mike Kingery, who obviously have been major league players in another organization. We're a better ball club without question than we were last year, but just where that'll take us, I don't know just yet. We're like everybody else. I think we're at the mercy of our pitching staff, and if they can make some improvements, so goes the ball club.
Okay, is there anything you'd like to say to the fans back in West Virginia who don't get a chance to come up much in Pittsburgh and see y'all play?
Well, I'd just like to say we certainly appreciate the business that you've given us in the years past, and we hope that we'll provide you with a good enough product that you'll drive up from West Virginia and take a look at our ball club and hopefully share some good evenings with us. Like I said, we appreciate your business. We appreciate you spending your hard-earned money with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and we know that in turn we have to give you a good product. We have to put something out there that will enhance you to come up and part with some of your money on our product. And if you don't have a good product, you can't expect anybody to spend their hard-earned money with you. And like I said, we're going to try to provide you with one so that at least you'll consider it. And like I said, we've always appreciated your support in the past, and we certainly will appreciate that in the future.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jeff King led the club in home runs for the 95 season. He has established himself as a great hitter, even when playing for his University of Arkansas, where he compiled a 372 career batting average and set school records in home runs and RBIs. I read that your father played baseball in the 50s for the Phillies, and I was wondering if that had a big influence on you playing baseball while you were young.
Yeah, it did. By the time I was 4 or 5, I had 2 older brothers, and they all played baseball too. And I think at the time my dad was coaching baseball, so basically you could say we were a baseball family, and just something we were brought up around, and we all did.
I read in the magazines and the information guide that you have had an awesome hitting record throughout your career, even through college, and I was just wondering how has it been for you this year, and how's it going, and do you expect to get any better? Or?
Well, I appreciate the compliment. Hitting is one of the hardest things to do in all of professional sports. Whereas if you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're considered a great hitter. You'd be hitting 300. So hitting is tough, and I had a career high in home runs last year, and had a lot of RBIs, and hopefully this year I'll just be able to do a little bit better than last year. And if that happens, it'll be a good season.
Do you have any advice for the younger athletes or high school players?
Oh, I would say maybe just, to enjoy the sport that they're in, whether it's baseball or football or whatever it might be, just to enjoy it as much as you can. If you have aspirations of continuing to play maybe in college or even professional, I think the most important thing when you're in high school is just to have fun, and things get a little more serious, the farther up you advance. So, having an enjoyment for the game will be very important later on down the road.
Thank you.
Okay.
Al Martin's uncle played 12 seasons with the Raiders, and his brother was the Pittsburgh Steelers' 5th-round draft pick in 1981. He also attended the University of Southern California on a football scholarship. When asked how he changed to baseball, this is what he said.
It was kind of a fluke thing, me playing baseball. I had a best friend who plays for the Dodgers by the name of Dave Hansen. He was a baseball player, and we used to hang out, and I went with him to a tryout, and the Kansas City Royals liked what they saw, and eventually I got drafted by the Atlanta Braves.
Well, do you have any advice for the athletes in high school, or the ones that would like to, maybe be somebody?
Well, all you can do is go out and do your very best, and make sure you don't regret anything that you do in high school, like not giving it your all or not striving to be the best. Definitely stay away from drugs and alcohol, because it can do nothing but bad things in your life. But basically work hard and have fun in what you're doing.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Kevin Young attended Kansas City Community College for 2 years. He played baseball at Southern Mississippi for 1 year before being drafted by the Pirates. He was All-American his sophomore year at Kansas City and also at Southern Mississippi. Well, you changed your batting stance last August, and you were 3 for 6 with a 1 home run that game. The next game, you had 2 home runs. Now, have you made any changes this year in the way you're playing? Or?
No, just basically it's the same thing. You just kind of work with what you do towards the end of the season, whatever works for you. You just try to come out and do a lot of hard work and try to stay as consistent as you can.
I know you played high school baseball when you were in high school. Do you have any advice for other high school players?
Well, the big advice I always give high school kids is that always work hard, you know. I mean, I'm sure they hear that all time and time again, but what I mean by work hard is working hard not only when the coach is watching, but a lot of times when they're not around. Doing extra work on your own, trying to take care of your body, you know, eating the right foods, doing things of that nature. That's what I consider all being hard work. I can remember a lot of times when I was coming along and growing up in Kansas City, I mean, in the wintertime, you know, being outside on the football bleacher stairs, running and doing things on my own that nobody ever knew about. Those are the things that usually give you the upper hand.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it, man.
All right.
Jay Bell has been an opening shortstop for the Pittsburgh Pirates for the 7th straight season, and if he opens again this year, then he will tie a streak for 8 games that has lasted since 1962. Now, Mr. Bell, do you know if you will be starting for the opening day this year?
Well, I hope so. I think that one of the things that Jim is planning on is me being out there opening day, and barring injury, I should be out there. So yeah, this will be my 8th straight opening day start, and I'm looking forward to it.
Now, you have represented the Pirates in the carrying program for the past 3 years, and can you tell us about that?
Well, basically what the carrying program for children is it's an organization set up that will produce money, and what it has been based on in the past is the number of hits I get. We have an organization that will come in, and then another organization that'll match the money that is put up, and all that money goes to families that are lower income, that have a difficult time putting up the money for insurance, and that's basically what it does. It gives families the opportunity to have insurance in case they need it for their children's health.
In 1993, you were a recipient of the Pittsburgh Points of Light Foundation Award for community service. Now, can you tell us about that award?
Well, basically what the award is it gives it's given to the Pirate player that exemplifies community relations. Basically, what it does is it gives the player not only for what they do on the field but off the field. The Miracle Network, the Children's Hospital there in Pittsburgh, a lot of things that have to do with charities in the city of Pittsburgh, and you know, it was an honor to receive something like that, because it shows that people really see the player for who they really are, not necessarily a baseball player, but for a person who is committed to the community itself.
That's right. Thank you.
All right, Chris.
Okay, welcome back to the Telethon. As you can see, Channel 2 doing some very interesting things now. We traveled all the way to Florida, so you can see what's possible just when you put your mind to it. Anyways, we have a pair of $10 donations, one by Alina Reed and the other by Donna Whited. And also, Peter Demby would like to challenge his father to make a donation again.
He challenged earlier, but I guess his father didn't accept, so he's trying again.
Right, he said to make sure that we emphasize that. Anyways, we want to go over our procedure for giveaways. You call our number,
927-6404.
And our operators are standing by, and what happens is when you call, you're allowed to put your donation under one of 6 designated items. And
whoever donates the highest on each particular item will receive that item at the end of the telethon. We'll be listing the highest donations on each item at
10 o'clock.
At 10 o'clock, I believe. So from 10 to 11, you can up your bids, whatever. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually,
That's right.
your donations, it's donations. It's not bids. This isn't an auction. You know, we're donating money to a good cause, and that's what it's about. So, anyhow, the items we have are all, among the items we have a Jeff Hostetler football, which coincidentally is going to lead into our next tape. But first, you may wonder about the rug that we're wearing. This was made by Tara Reed's grandmother, and it is one of the special giveaways of the hour. The way this works is right now we'll start taking phone calls, and we're going to draw some names out of a basket to see who wins. Okay, this just in.
All right.
Jack and Sandy Garrett donate $100, which is funny because Laura was just about to say hello.
I just wanted to say hi to all the Garrett girls, and thanks for watching.
All right, thanks a lot. That's a great donation. Thank you very much. Anyways, if you would like to have this lovely rug, it is purple and turquoise, and especially attractive to anyone who likes the Charlotte Hornets. These are their colors. If you don't like the Hornets and you like the colors, that's fine. Just call in. You don't have to donate money, and we will put your it's okay if you do, but we'll put your name in a basket, and we'll be picking a name later on during this hour. So, right now, we were talking about the Hostetler football. We're getting ready to go to the Hostetler tape, which was done by Andrew Miller and Ben Walsh were the interviewers, and there were various other camera people, and they traveled to Morgantown.
I'm sure that would have been a lot of fun to meet someone so famous.
Someone so famous, and you know, Steve Van Horn helped out to arrange the interview, Janet Starcher with transportation, and Denby Garrett with transportation also. So let's go to the Jeff Hostetler interview.
Football fans, and for those of you who are, you'll be sure to recognize our guest today. But for those of you who haven't followed the Mountaineers, our guest today is Jeff Hostetler, former WVU quarterback and NFL quarterback since 1984. First thing we want to ask you is, what's it like to play in a Super Bowl? That's what a lot of people would like to know.
Well, you know what, it's you know, the top of my profession. You know, it's what everybody shoots for, and to win, to go to a Super Bowl is great, but you got to win it. And you know, Buffalo and Denver will tell you, you know, that's definitely the case. But it was a great feeling. I think the thing that I remember the most was you know, standing in the tunnel waiting to be introduced, and you know, realizing how many people were going to watch that game. And you know, it was a lot of fun playing in it, but you know, the best thing about it was winning it and having a ring to show for it.
So you mentioned that you had a lot of fun playing in Super Bowl. Is pro football a lot like college ball and a lot of fun, or is it more like a job?
No, it's not at all like college. It's a job. It's your business, and everybody's treated that way. It's a huge business, and I think you know, you need to be able to take care of yourself. Need to be able to take care of getting yourself in shape and prepared, and be able to handle you know, what comes at you, because you don't have a head coach or an assistant coach that's looking after you to make sure that you stay in school or go to class. You're on your own, and it's a whole different world.
Okay. Speaking of what comes at you, well, how do you feel about like being a quarterback? There's a lot of talk now about a lot of injuries to quarterbacks, and you know, all the different things, playing with concussions and things like that. What do you think of being a quarterback yourself and having a lot of chance of injury?
Well, you know what, those guys, those big defensive linemen, and that, they don't get any smaller or slower or weaker. You know, I mean, they continually get bigger and stronger and faster, and you know, when you collide with one of those guys, something's got to give, and normally it's not going to be them. I think they've changed some rules in the past, and I think right now they're starting to enforce those a little more, and I think last year was one of the best years as far as the health of quarterbacks throughout the league, and you know, I think that's you know, a step in the right direction. But as a quarterback, you know, you got to be prepared for that, and that's part of the game.
Okay, you mentioned earlier that the NFL was a business. Well, you were a finance major here, which is sort of a business field. And you have some businesses here in the Morgantown area. Do you plan to, when you retire, to go into business?
Well, definitely. I mean, once I always seem to have my hand in something and am busy doing one thing or another. And I think once my career is over in the NFL, I'll be in some type of business situation. And I have a restaurant and a bagel business right now that we're just in the beginning stages of it. And I look forward to expanding that when half my year isn't taken up playing football.
Okay, you talk about being real busy. How has that affected your family life?
Well, I take my family goes with me when we go out to Oakland or out to LA. They come out with me, and it's tough on them as far as being able to stay at one place all year long. They don't get to do that. We have a school out there that we have the kids in, and then when we come back, they switch schools and come back here. So the transition there is tough, but we've been able to sort of perfect that because I've been in the league. This will be my 13th year, so it's tough, but I think if you work at it, you can make it work.
Okay, you mentioned after retiring going to business. Any chance of coaching? A lot of quarterbacks go into coach football.
Well, I don't think so, but I never close the door on anything. But that's right now not at the top of my list. That's a tough job.
How do you cope with the pressures that go along with always striving for excellence in everything?
Well, you know what? I think you just come down to realizing that you want to go out and give it your best, and make sure you prepare well. You work hard in order to get the job done. You do everything you can leading up to it, and once the game starts, there's a lot of things that are out of your control. But as long as you can walk off that field knowing that I gave my very best, I hustled, I gave effort, and maybe it was good enough today, or maybe it wasn't good enough. You can't control that all the time, but you can control the type of effort and type of preparation that you put into it. And that if you can do that and know that you've given your very best, nobody can ask any more.
Okay, you mentioned earlier about your kids and in school in Oakland and things. Have you now that they're getting a little older, do you encourage your kids to play sports?
Well, I'm hopefully kind of encouraging them to take up golf and tennis and some of those non-contact sports. But whatever they want to do, I'm behind them. If they don't want to have anything to do with sports, that's fine with me. There's a lot of things in life that are more important than going out and winning a ball game. But it's something that I enjoy, and it's entertainment. But whatever my kids want to do, I'll be behind them 100%.
Are there any times in any of the games that you think twice about your job, like, what am I doing out here after taking some of the physical beatings that we've seen?
I guess maybe not right during the game, but sure enough after the game, sitting in the locker room, feeling the bumps and bruises and the aches and pains and saying, what in the world am I doing? Those have definitely floated through my mind and sometimes float out, sometimes stay there. But I do enjoy playing the game, and right now, I think that enjoyment outweighs the physical pains.
Are you still involved with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes? Yeah, I'm not, not as involved on the collegiate level where a lot of it is there, but we've got a great core of Christian guys on the Raiders team, and that's something that has allowed me and enabled me to get to where I am. There's so many ups and downs in so many parts of all of our lives. Football, you have ups and downs, and in the business world, you have ups and downs. In school, you have ups and downs. But one place that you don't have ups and downs, and that's with the Lord, and that's been an important part of my life, and something that will always be there.
Okay, just on the lighter side, something a lot of kids in school always wonder is, how far can a professional quarterback such as yourself throw a football?
Well, the furthest I ever threw a football, I think, was about 77 yards. But, during a game, you don't need to throw it that far. And You know, the furthest I've ever seen anybody throw one, I think, was 78 yards. So, you know, you hear all these stories about guys throwing it, you know, 85, 100 yards, this and that. Well, you know, that's fine, but can they hit the receiver? I don't know of any receiver that can run 100 yards and catch the football once the quarterback's throwing it. So, you know, arm strength isn't all that important. It's where you put the football, the timing, and knowing where to throw the ball.
Okay, do you have any like advice for young athletes who are happen to be in our school or in our area that will see your interview?
Yeah, I think the big thing is be confident in yourself as far as what you can and can't do. You know, nobody can do everything. Nobody can be do all the things that Michael Jordan can do. You know, it's one of those things that everybody's blessed with certain gifts and certain abilities, and as long as you you know, go out and prepare, work hard, you know, practice, you know your game plan, know what you're trying to do, what your coach is trying to do, know your plays, do all that stuff beforehand, prepare real well, work hard, practice hard. You know, that's all anybody can ask, and that's, you know, sometimes you're going to win games and sometimes you're going to lose them, and that's part of it. You just know that every time you walk out on that field or out in that court or on the mat or wherever you are, you know, you're going to give your very best, and the guys around you know that.
Before you leave, we have something. This is for our telethon. We sponsor a telethon to raise all our money for a year to keep our station going. We have a 24-hour cable channel. Okay. And if you wouldn't mind, we'd like to ask you to autograph this ball. Sure. And we'll give this away to the person who donates the most money.
Well, this is worth a lot, I think, right? Yeah. We got to get a lot of money for this. It's for a good cause, right?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
And we have a shirt to make you an honorary Raider.
Honorary Raider.
That looks great.
From the Roane County Raiders to the Oakland Raiders, I suppose.
That sounds good. That sounds very good.
And we'd like to thank you a lot for being with us today.
Sure thing. Appreciate you guys coming up.
Thank you.
All right.